Now, in line with the Kenya Demographic Health Survey report that was released last week on Tuesday, with really quite an array of issues that were profiled in this particular report, but we just look at one component of this specific report, and that is in respect to infidelity, where we are as a country, and better yet, how to navigate and just make a better society. This is what you're set to converse with my guest, Pastor Dr. Alice Namu, who is a marriage counselor. Daktari, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
I just want us to latch on this conversation by looking at some of those statistics that were released by the Kenyan National Bureau of Statistics. I mean, in respect to in a lifetime, when it particularly comes to a man, we're looking at 7 partners. You know, that is in a lifetime. And for women, this is 2. Again, just tying down to what was released. From your practice,
yes,
why is this?
Now, allow me to say this, that right from the beginning, even if we quote what is written in the Bible, now there is this infidelity, or we can call it like that because of this man who was called Solomon, who had even concubines. And then we go again to the New Testament, where we find that we have this Samaritan woman who was at the well. And Jesus told her that even the 5th one that you have is still not yours. So this is not news, or it's not something that we're hearing for the first time, or it is not something that is happening for the first time. But I want to say that infidelity, or generally cheating in relationships, because you not only cheat in marriage, you can also cheat in a relationship. I will say that there are few things that have affected these things right from the time when we did not even know Jesus, when we did not even receive the missionary teachings, we did not even go to school. So there are so many things that have contributed to the rise of infidelity. And one thing that people must understand is that the first thing that will have these numbers rise is, number one, that someone gets into marriage or into a relationship and you come to realize that you chose the wrong partner.
How is that possible?
Now, that is very possible, because in the time of choosing a partner, and there is this saying that we always say, that in the time of fishing, you can fish so many, you kiss so many, even frogs. So in the process of kissing, you might be cheated, or you might get a feeling that this fish can be good, and finally to come to realize, oh no, I looked at the beauty, but I did not look at the financial status. I looked at the financial status, but I did not look at the behavior. So I took some interest in a few things, and I did not take some interest in other things that now make me understand that I am not in the right decision.
I hear you.
You understand?
I hear you.
So that is one of the reasons that one can just now say, all right, I will not do away with this marriage, I will not do away with this relationship, but what I'm going to do, I will try to look for something else. I see whether I can get the comfort that I was looking for.
I hear you.
Something else is about peer pressure. You just go to the clubs, you go partying, and you realize everybody is coming with the girlfriend, everybody is with a side chick, so why am I here alone? So you feel, even me next time, I will go with my side chick, or I will go with my, I don't know whether they are side hand, they are side cocks. I am not very sure. All right.
Okay.
These are some of the things that may make people get into infidelity, and these numbers can rise. Number 3 is because of economic status. People are struggling, they are striving, so you tend to think that if I get a second man who alongside my husband, he can maybe try and support me financially. So there are those reasonings that people are taking in this life, and finally you find yourself in infidelity, even when sometimes it was not what you purposed to do.
I hear you. So basically what you're saying is that really there could be a number of causes, and you have well enumerated them.
Yes.
And you know, you can go on and on, because clearly there's quite a lot of them. Nonetheless, I want us to still stick with this particular survey. And this is again in regards to counties, because you realize Murang'a County did top the list when it came to women, and Narok County did top the list when it came to men. And this was just in a span of 12 months. So we're talking about 1 year. Again, Daktari, from your practice, is this an issue of county per county, or character is character regardless of where you go? I
don't think it's an issue of county, and I also think that sometimes a survey is done in some places, and I'm not very sure whether they did a survey in the 47 counties and it was done intensely. But now let us take this image of Murang'a County, now specifically saying that women are the ones who are at the high rise of infidelity. Now let us come and consider one thing. How is the behavior of the greatest number of men in this county? How are they behaving? Might the men have decided to relax and wait upon their women, and therefore the burden for women has become so big that the night try, let us now look for another way that we are going to get the solution to our problems. So what is the behavior? Did they do a survey of the behavior of men? When they wake up in the morning, where do they go? Or these are some of the men who just wake up in the morning, they take a cup of tea, and they don't even, some of them don't even take a cup of tea, they go to the clubs or they go to the...
Aren't you making an excuse?
I'm not making an excuse. I'm only trying to say for us to confirm that the women, it is true they are in infidelity because of choice. It is important we know the reasons why they are in infidelity. Because sometimes we can also do a research, maybe for example, about a divorce case, and we can come and say that this lady went out of marriage. Before we know or before we make a judgment about this lady who went out of the marriage, it is important we study what are the reasons that propelled this lady. You understand?
Well
so
said.
I'm not here to support any infidelity, and of course, being a clergy, I will not support, I will support one man, one wife. But it is important when we are giving a survey report, it is important we come out with some of the propelling factors or the factors that are making these people to behave like this. Let's go now to the county where men is at the rise. We also need to understand, is it that in that county, you know, there is the aspect of culture, whereby many in some people, in some places, the culture of women not going to school, or the women not working, all the women just resting and they're waiting for the men. So the men might have decided, because now these women, their work is just staying in the house, they are not helping in any way. Is it one of the reasons that has made men that they choose they need to go out? Or do we have some cultures that are forcing these people to move out? So we also need to have a reason, not only the survey, not only the numbers, but we would also want to have another survey of why exactly do we think that these men are moving out of their marriage.
Well said, well said. And of course, you talked about another survey. This normally a survey that's normally done after every 5 years. So perhaps in the next 5 years, you might really get, as you say, you know, in-depth report in regards to maybe the reasons, so that then we don't say that Moranga is leading with this, or Narok is leading with this, or this county, but then you get to understand perhaps why. But also when you talk about culture, it actually makes a segue for my next question, whereby again you realize that there was the aspect of, and this has been talked about largely, the aspect of education. There was also let me just get that, the aspect of education, wealthier, you know, demographic, and those living in urban centers, so that this particular sect would form the highest rate of infidelity cases. And then, so then my question would be, I mean, if you're really highly educated, you're more wealthier, then you are more knowledgeable, so then you should know better. Where do you reconcile this?
Oh, personally, I will say this, that when it comes to infidelity, as much as economic status will contribute, as much as the level of education will contribute, because of course, the more you learn it, the more exposed you become, the more you meet several people, the more you interact, the more you make your own independent decisions, because there is no one who is controlling you, especially we women who are working. Sometimes you don't need to ask your husband whether you must go out, because you have your coins in the pocket, so you don't need anyone to give you any permission. But if you're not working, if you have to go for a party, then you have to tell your husband like 2 weeks ago that kindly next Saturday, but one I will be leaving.
So which one is better?
No, none is better. I don't think any is better. But what I would say is, for us to maintain our behavior, it doesn't mean whether you have money or you don't have money. It doesn't matter whether you are learned or you are not learned. I mean, this is something that is very personal. You have to sit and look at your integrity. You have to understand that with or without money, discipline is key. You have to understand that your behavior must be controlled by what you think. You must not take advantage of what you have, not saying because I'm wealthy, then I must misbehave. Not because I have my own money, then I must misbehave. Or because I'm at home and my husband doesn't give me money, then I'm going to misbehave. I am not taking infidelity as one of the major reasons or one of the pulling forces that should make us get into infidelity. So I will say that whether you're in the culture that advocates women to go to school, or whether you are in the culture where women have gotten their own independence, then infidelity is a personal choice. And when you find yourself in it, unless a very small percentage that has been pushed to it because of maybe a financial crisis, or maybe because of the culture that we are talking about, whereby polygamy is something that is done in their culture. But then I will say that infidelity, I would just say it is a matter of personal choice.
But I'm feeling like there's a bit of a disconnect disconnect.
Yes.
And perhaps you can make me and many other understand.
Yes.
Because when you look at some of those causative agents of infidelity, finances is always one of those big reasons as to why.
Yes.
So then you're having a couple, I should say, perhaps even the woman, you are earning your own money, you are working. So clearly that then it just shows you that in this regard, assuming also the man is working, earning his own money, in this regard, finances need not to be a challenge.
Exactly.
So then if being wealthy is one of those reasons that were preferred, why are we bringing the line of finances as one of the reasons again? I feel like there's a bit of a disconnect.
All right. Why we are putting finances as one of the reasons why people get into infidelity, we are talking about there are those people, number one, who have very high expectations. Okay. Very high expectations. So you may find that this person works with big companies and is just working for 1 or 2 months and has realized that everybody is getting in the gate with big machines. So at the end of it all, you want to merge even before you get the money that is needed for you to achieve what you want. So there are people who are so much over expectant and they want to achieve what they ought to achieve for 10 years. They want to achieve it with only 2 years. So what is going to happen is that you're going to look for a solution. Where do I get the 1 million that I need in a month? So what it is going to push you to a person maybe who is going to buy you the car that you want to have. So what is going to happen? You are going to walk out because someone is promising you a very good car. You understand? So finances, there are those people with money and they still get into infidelity because of very high expectations and they want to make a mall in one day. Again, also those who are very low in finances, you come to realize, let me take this aspect of the irresponsible men, because we have men who are very responsible. They wake up maybe to drinking. They don't even drink. They just wake up, they are just resting, they're in the houses, they are there tuning the TV in every channel, and that is their work. And we have men who are like that. So you have 2 children, you have a house rent to pay, you have other baggages that are on your shoulders. So you tend to imagine that if I get another man, 1, I'll get consolation, number 2, I'll get peace of mind, and again also this burden of economy, I might get someone to help me. So we are not talking about finances when it is low or finances when it is high. Whether it is low or it is high, those with money and those without money can choose a financial reason to get into infidelity.
So then this does cut across.
Yes.
Just depending on how you want to look at it.
Oh, yes.
So then, Dr. Alice, I want us to make progress. And so then we look at the solution. So this has happened. Just going by the data release, I mean, the numbers, keep spiraling.
Yes.
And so then we have to get a middle ground and look for a way of better society. So for a couple that this has actually happened to them, and this could go either way, actually. What is the first step? Where do you start from?
All right. The first thing for you to resolve infidelity, and there's one thing that I want to put across, especially for those people who are in dating now, those who have not even yet gotten into marriage. There's one thing I want you to understand is that you're dating a grown-up. You're dating a person who is an adult. And adults are made of choices. And there are people who say, like now there are people getting into marriage and they are saying, I'm getting into marriage, get my 2 children, because I don't want my parents to be saying I got my children outside wedlock. And they said, I might stay in marriage for like 10 years and later I will walk out. There are people who get into marriage with
an exit strategy.
Exactly. They already know that I'm only here for children, and that is why I'm dating this particular person, because I want children of this particular person.
So wait a minute.
Yes.
So then this simply means, even as you talk about infidelity, it's not just the aspect of something happened in between.
No.
There could be other reasons as to why you actually got into marriage, that at some point I'm just planning that I'm going to leave.
Oh, yes.
Because I got what I wanted.
Oh, yes. There are people who get into marriage.
So this is why these numbers would keep going up.
That is why the numbers will keep going up, because there are people who get into marriage with their own reasons, not even to stay and make the marriage. Now, I want to tell those people who are dating is that because you are dating a grown-up, you need to understand that a grown-up is a person made of choices. So a person can change in the process. In the dating or in marriage, this person can change. And whatever that you hear happening in other people's homes, don't just think that in your home it cannot happen. So I personally don't like hearing people say that my man is so faithful, I know he cannot cheat. My wife is so good, I don't think they can cheat. This is a statement that many of us use, and maybe it's a comforting statement. But one thing that I want to say is that anyone can change as long as they make decisions, including me in a collar. This collar is kept. I was not born with this. It was in my life that I got this. So I can also make a choice and I can go to that. You understand? So when we are getting into marriage or into relationships, point number one is that we need to be set. We need to understand that there are changes that can happen in life. This one will help you so that when some of these things happen, it doesn't depress you so much. Yes, it will stress you because you don't get into marriage imagining that your wife can be caught with another man. You don't get into marriage imagining that your husband can go lying with other women. But one thing I want to say is because adults are made of choices, that there is one thing that we need to understand, that choices can change. Number two, when such a thing happens, is it a rumor? Because many of us keep fighting, we keep on running, but it can be a rumor. Someone just told you, oh, I saw your man, and the way they were close with this lady, I tend to imagine there is something else that they were discussing. This is not all about business. So whatever you are talking about your man or your wife, is it a rumor or it is something that you've confirmed? A message on phone of hi dear is not an important information to tell you that your man is moving out. Because this name dear, darling, I mean, it has become now a very common name. When I said to you this morning is, hi darling, good morning. I mean, that doesn't mean we are dating. So this is not one of the reasons that you are going to hit your man or your wife because you just saw a message that hi dear and he responded hi darling. So that it may be a way, it may be a leeway to whatever that you are suspecting, but it may not be that this is a confirmation that my man or my woman is going out.
I hear you.
So we don't want to work on rumors. Kindly confirm your information. It's like the survey that you've just given us. It was not something, it is something that has been done for a whole year because they really wanted to give us at least numbers that are next to the truth. So even as when we are doing our own research of what we've heard about our marriages, then it is important that we do also our own survey, do your own research. Number three, that we need to understand if we have to resolve this issue of infidelity. Are you ready to talk about it? Because sometimes you may come and you really want to go to the counselor. You want to tell the counselor, I'm suspecting my man is moving out and this is the fault of the woman or this is the fault of the man that my wife is moving about with. But have you discussed it with him? Does he know you have such speculations? Does he know that you have such insinuation that you feel, no, this is not right? You understand? Because communication in marriages or in relationships is becoming a key problem. People don't want to disclose. You know, someone will say, sasa nikimuuliza, see it will bring a lot of problems. You understand? So you try to die in the inside, but there is something that you are almost sure of, but you don't want to communicate. When I tell him, he might fail to pay school fees. So let me wait until he pays the school fees, then I'll ask when the children go back to school. Now you see, you are now, it's like a wood. When a wood is fresh, it is very easily treatable. But when you let the wood stay for a long time, it will get a covering in the process of healing. And when you go to the doctor, it will be very painful to scrub the top before it is treated.
All right. I mean, really, just from what you're saying, you've opened up my mind to ask a raft of questions, and clearly there's a lot we could have discussed and talked about in regards to this topic. You realize very pertinent issues being brought to the fore. But we're really strapped for time, Dr. And we have just about 3 minutes to exit this space. And I wouldn't want us to do that without talking about the issue of forgiveness.
Yes.
Just very quickly, how do you move about forgiving?
All right. Now, I will just say about those two ones, forgiveness and letting go. Forgiveness is a process. It is not something that you just wake up in the morning and say, I forgive you. But letting go is something that now you understand it has already happened. Let me live with it without causing pain. But forgiveness is not something that it will be preached today and you take it. So I want to tell people, please, don't go to these couples who have gone through this and you tell them, kindly forgive. Forgiving is not something that you expect to be done today and tomorrow. It is something that has a lot that is needed.
I will even say, just forgive and move on.
And just forgive and move on, like nothing happened. Or just forgive and forget. There are some things that it is difficult to forgive. But one thing I want to say is, if such a thing happens and the spouse promises never to repeat it again, it is always important to give a second chance. But I always say this as a counselor, that giving a second chance, is it something that you are seeing it will bear fruits? Or is it, it has become everyday routine? You ask him, why are you moving out? Oh, sorry, it it was the devil. You know. Oh, sorry, I did not even understand.
And sometimes we have tendency of bringing the devil in places
Very
even where
good.
they're not.
It's just saying like when you are warming milk and you all obviously know when milk is boiling, it will spill over. Then you start saying it is the devil. I mean, there is no devil there. You knew the milk will spill over.
Yes.
So let it not be something that is being used for the first day, for the second day, for the third day. Don't allow anyone to take interest of you. If someone cannot change, another solution can be found. Oh yes.
How do you track then? How do you track that? Because I mean, this is part of that forgiveness aspect. If someone cannot change, how do you track this between that point that you've actually found out, you're perhaps looking into reconciliation, as you've said, because again, people are different. Now the response to issues is different. How do you track that very quickly?
Now, the first thing is you understand when you want to resolve a problem, the first thing is you resolve it the two of you. If it cannot be resolved between the two of you, you involve a third party. If it cannot be resolved with the third party, you involve both the parents, for those of us who are married. Now, if the parents don't make it, then the law is there. So let us not just say, oh, these ones are in the church, they married in the church, why are they going to court? No.
And how will the church see it?
Court is also another way of resolving conflicts.
And it just says something that sometimes there's that tendency of someone saying, so then how will the church see it? Watani beba VP? Then you realize this actually is between you and the
Exactly. It is just like for us who with this and for counselors, nobody expects that in the pastor's home or in the counselor's home there can be a problem. But let me tell you, a counselor can divorce, a pastor can divorce, depending with the circumstances. So let us not say that anyone is perfect in this. No one is born with a body that doesn't feel pain. Oh yes.
Well said. I mean, just like I said earlier, there's really quite a lot we could have discussed in respect to infidelity in marriage, bring from what the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics also did release and how to navigate that. But because you're strapped for time, Dr. you have to cap it at this particular point. Nonetheless, we appreciate and value your insights and contribution into this topic. Asante sana.
Thank you so much.
I have been speaking to Pastor Dr. Alice Namu, who is a marriage counselor. Of course, what has formed center stage on our family check conversation today is just looking at infidelity in marriage, and this borrowing from what the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics released in respect to that Kenya Demographic Health Survey that also did touch on these issues of infidelity. Good place to end this conversation, and ultimately good morning Kenya from me and on behalf of the entire team. Asante sana. Till tomorrow, good morning.